Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Janelle Rainey, Head of Product Marketing at Zoom, and I'll be moderating today's event. Just a few housekeeping items. Please go ahead and add your questions to the Q&A panel, and we'll try to get to as many questions as possible. We are recording this webinar, and we will send it out later. We're excited to provide you yet another update on our recent progress and an opportunity to ask Eric and a few of our top product team members questions. Today, we're going to have Eric, our founder and CEO, provide an update on our progress since the last webinar on July 15th, followed by Oded Gal, our Chief Product Officer, who will recap recent and upcoming product and security updates to our platform. We'll then have Max Krohn, our Head of Security Engineering, share updates on our end-to-end encryption offering. And Jason Lee, our Chief Information Security Officer, will then recap best practices for users to secure their Zoom meetings. And lastly, we'll open up to Q&A. With that, I'll hand it off to Eric. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, thank you, Janelle. It's a long time. So yeah, thank you all for joining me today, and I truly appreciate it for your time. So we are very excited to welcome you all to another webinar, which we are now hosting on a monthly basis as part of our commitment to be transparent with our users and to provide privacy, security, and product updates. Since our last webinar last month, we have wrapped up our innovation pipeline and rolled out a number of new features as well as some solutions to further enhance our users' experience when using Zoom's platform. And this includes the expansion of both Zoom Phone and Zoom for Home devices, as well as our end-to-end encryption offering. And we are very excited about that, which Oded and Max will discuss in greater detail in a minute. So while we continue to push ahead with innovative features to improve our product and the users' experience, and help them feel even more connected, privacy and security remain at the forefront. And we have made a number of security enhancements that we are rolling out in August across our UCaaS portfolio, including Zoom meetings and Zoom webinars, Zoom chat, Zoom phone, and Zoom rooms. Also, we continue to bolster our security and trust and safety teams. And importantly, I'm very pleased to share that Adam Ruderman started as our new head of vulnerability and bug bounty program in mid-July. Adam brings extensive experience in network security and product security. And he will help us on our journey to become the most frictionless and secure video communications in the world. As we continue to navigate through this global health crisis, it's inspiring and encouraging to see the role Zoom continues to play in helping people stay connected and productive, especially in the education sector. So educators play a vital role in the growth and development for our children, who are the future of our society. So to help educators prepare for the new school year, we hosted our first K-12 Zoom Summer Academy at the end of July, which garnered participation from tens of thousands of educators, school teachers, school IT staff, and other learners and leaders from 154 countries who joined for a two-day professional development series to share knowledge, resources, and best practices for a very successful return to the classroom in the new school year. I was also proud to see so many educators from different backgrounds gathering together and leveraging our platform to ensure that learning which is one of the most important aspects of our society, can continue. With that, I will now turn it over to Odette, our Chief Product Officer. Odette.
Thank you, Eric. Let me walk you through the exciting updates we have for Zoom Phone and Zoom for Home, as well as our releases for the product and platform in August. I'll begin with the Zoom Phone. On August 17, we announced that we have expanded Zoom Phone to 25 additional countries and territories, enabling us to provide local telephone service and domestic calling in over 40 countries and territories around the world. Further, to help our customers streamline their communications, carrier portfolio, and the process for managing domestic calling plans, we launched the Global Select Plan. This plan allows companies to purchase domestic calling for one flat price per user in the 40+ countries and territories we will provide PSTN service. Based on our ongoing engagement with our customers, we've been on an aggressive path over the last 18 months or so to add more countries and territories to our local PSTN service offering in order to ensure an easy path to cloud phone service. By March 2020, we were in 18 countries and territories, and now we have more than doubled the number of countries in our local PSTN service. This expanded coverage allows Zoom customers to migrate away from the legacy phone systems and consolidate business communications into Zoom's video-first unified communication platform. Importantly, this new model for providing local cloud telephony simplifies communication for our customers, helps them untangle and consolidate their global telephony spending, and replaces their existing UBX solution with one that fits seamlessly into their overall communications framework. Today, we announced the expansion of Zoom for Home category to include Facebook, Amazon, and Google personal collaboration devices. We're now officially in the new normal, where telecommuting and remote learning are the way of life for many in the US and abroad. To accommodate this change in norm, we launched our new category, Zoom for Home, last month to enhance immersive video collaboration at home. Zoom for Home provides simple device solutions and enables to streamline means of video meetings, phone calls, and interactive whiteboarding, combining Zoom software enhancements with compatible hardware to upgrade for home office experience. We expect Zoom will be publicly available on portal from Facebook in September. We're also adding Amazon's Echo Show 8 to our Zoom for Home category and expect it to be publicly available by the end of the year. And finally, we expect Zoom will be publicly available on Google's Next Hub Max by the end of the year. Next, let me walk you through some of the security highlights from releases we have introduced or will introduce this month. For Zoom meetings and webinars, earlier this month, we provided passcode and waiting room options on the top of all the various schedulers that our platform supports. We also improved waiting room notifications to ensure that hosts are more easily able to tell when participants are waiting to be let into the meeting. This includes additional notifications during screen share and when Zoom is minimized or hidden. When scheduling meetings and webinars, hosts can utilize a new setting called Request Permission to Unmute Participants, which allows participants to pre-approve hosts' ability to unmute them as needed when joining a meeting. Hosts joining by phone can start meetings with the host key when join before host is enabled. For Zoom Chat, channel and group chat admins can manage the posting permissions to choose when can send messages in their channel or group chat. Channel admins can remove the ability for external contacts to add new members to channels and group chats for security and privacy purposes. Also, earlier this week, we made enhancement to Zoom Phone, including account owners and admins can use the role management feature, predefined Zoom Phone roles and permissions, and will have the ability to edit each role in order to control Zoom Phone privileges. Emergency calling enhancements, and the ability to sync the IDP with IDP for corporate directory contacts. Also, earlier this week, the following enhancements to Zoom meetings were made. We now display the certificate expiration date on the single sign-on page on our web client, warning admins that the certificate will soon expire and allowing them to proactively update the certificate in order to prevent login issues. Additionally, we have enabled consent for participants unmute. We also now have external authentication whereby account owners and admins can configure their identity provider to authenticate users who are joining meetings and webinars via SSO. This feature is available for business and enterprise accounts with SSO configured. We are also planning on other releases for Zoom Chat later this month. Zoom Chat will provide account admins with the ability to manage external contacts, including the option to completely remove external contacts from their accounts. Additionally, account admins will have the ability to download chat history for a specific user for 1 year at a time. Now, I'll hand it over to Max Kron, our head of security engineering, who will walk you through our progress on our end-to-end encryption offering.
Thank you, Oded. I'm pleased to share our progress on end-to-end encryption for Zoom meetings. So to recall, our goal for end-to-end encryption was to maintain Zoom's easy-to-use product and to complement it with new key management technology. To recap what we have done so far, we first released a draft design of our proposal on May the 22nd. And since then, we've updated the design to incorporate feedback we've gotten from the security community, and we published that update on June 17th. As we go forward, we plan to keep updating this document as details about our implementation and future plans become more clear. On July 31st, we launched the first of our beta. We launched the first Zoom beta product for end-to-end encryption, first internally and then with external customers. We're extremely excited about how this beta is going. In our testing, we validated the performance, scale, and ease of use of the end-to-end encryption offering for meetings. We're making adjustments based on feedback, and we look forward to a general availability launch this fall. What we have built so far is a great foundational layer for what we plan to build in the future. And as a reminder, here's the progress that we anticipate over the next year and beyond. Phase 1 is where we're introducing client key management, where Zoom meetings will generate and manage private key pairs known only to the client. The client will use these to generate and exchange session keys without needing to trust the server. Think of this level of security as what you would get on most end-to-end encrypted consumer platforms today. We'll support all Zoom clients, Zoom rooms, and this will be available for scheduled meetings only. In phase 2, we're going to roll out a stronger notion of identity that can be used with Zoom end-to-end encryption. Identity providers via SSOs can vouch for their users without trusting Zoom. This will enable other users to get warnings if their contacts are on new phones or computers that weren't previously authenticated. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Jason Lee, our Chief Information Security Officer.
Thank you, Max. I now want to revisit an important and serious issue that my colleagues have touched on before in previous webinars: how to secure Zoom meetings. This is particularly important as schools start this next year. Over the course of this pandemic, we've seen instances of uninvited users seeking out publicly posted meeting information and joining those meetings to disrupt and attack other users with hateful, malicious, and deeply offensive content. I want to reiterate that Zoom unequivocally rejects and condemns this deplorable behavior. We are very focused on continuing to take action to ensure our platform is safe and secure for our users. Despite making many enhancements to our platform over the past couple of months to make it easier for meeting hosts to prevent these attacks, we know they unfortunately continue to occur. We want to ensure all of our users are educated on best practices for securing their meetings. The security of any Zoom meetings begins at the point of scheduling. Prior to the start of any meeting, users can configure a number of pre-meeting features through the Zoom web portal or the Zoom desktop client to ensure meetings are protected from the outset. We encourage hosts to enable passcodes in virtual waiting rooms, and these features can be enforced by account owners and admins at the user, group, or account level for all meetings and webinars. Further, users can enable the Join by Domain feature, which only allows attendees with a given email domain to join the meetings. Once the meeting begins, hosts can continue to manage the security of their meetings with a range of in-meeting features. To ensure the host can quickly and easily access these features, we created the security icon in the toolbar. Meeting hosts can lock the meeting so no new participants can join, even if they have the meeting ID or passcode. You can remove uninvited participants. You can put a participant on hold to mute their audio and video. Turn a participant's video off. Mute an individual participant or all of them at once. Disable in-meeting file transfer through chat. Disable the annotation feature. Restrict participants' ability to chat amongst one another. Turn off screen sharing for participants. Enable or disable a participant or all participants to record. Disable participants' ability to rename their on-screen identity. Turn on waiting rooms from within the meeting. And to report users to Zoom's trust and safety team, who will review any potential misuse of the platform and take appropriate action. We are committed to providing users with the tools and resources they need on a safe and secure platform. Please visit the privacy and security page on the website, which houses more resources and best practices for securing your meetings. With that, I'll now hand it back over to Janelle.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason, for those important reminders. Now we'll open it up to our Q&A. And thank you all for submitting your questions. Let's jump right into it. Oded, can you talk about, do you have a technology workaround to create communal sound chambers to create music together?
I'm not following exactly what the problem is. If you can read it again.
Yes, do you have technology or workaround to create a communal sound chamber to create music together?
So in terms of having music together, there is one limitation that we have where we can only mix up to 3 streams together at once. So the idea of having multiple people playing music and performing together is limited to that number. We are looking into a solution that will solve that problem, but right now the limitation is there. One thing that is available is the ability for each individual to improve the quality of the audio that they record, in the sense that we have the feature that allows you to record the original sound. And if you look for that feature, it can be enabled by the host. And once original sound is enabled, the filters that is required for just a voice recording of a person will be disabled. And you have kind of a wider range of sound that can be recorded on the computer to support music and singing from one individual.
Excellent. Bill is asking, our group would like to host a workshop which combines a webinar with breakout rooms, and is that possible? We want to only spotlight 1 to 3 speakers at a time without everyone visible, as it would be in a Zoom meeting. We also want the ability to have breakout discussion groups and come back to report to the group as a whole.
So currently, breakout rooms is a feature that is only available for meetings, not for webinars. We are working on adding that to webinars in the future, but we will have new features coming in the next release that will allow more flexibility in terms of video layouts. And so expect some new enhancements that will come that will make the host and the participants able to choose more than one participant in terms of pinning or spotlighting. So that may solve the problem that you have, but we keep hearing more and more about those new use cases, and we'll register this requirement and see if we can support it further. But please look for the next release that will have some additional features in terms of managing the layouts and being able to pin multiple users.
Great. And then Mindy's asking, can you prevent attendees from logging in with video?
So
and
right
the
now
main
you
way
can
to do that would be with webinars, right?
correct.
But maybe you can talk
Right.
a little bit more about that.
If you use webinars, basically it's a view only mode where the users join the meeting and can attend by just receiving video. And that will solve that problem of not allowing users to share their video in a meeting.
Right. And Eric, Jordana, I hope I got your name right, is asking, how do you envision a business using Zoom to make their business fully remote? Very timely question.
Yeah, I think first of all, I think over the past several months, right, we all learned a lot, right, how to leverage the tools like Zoom or other tools, right, and to support remote work. I think given the past several months experience, I think technology is ready. Just to make sure and let your team adopt the tools like this. And plus, the key is not about technology. This key is about the engagement with your employees. Make sure they do not have too many back-to-back meetings, and also which might cause mental health problem. Right? I think overall, I think this is becoming the mainstream now, right? So and there's no productivity loss, and it works. Yeah.
Excellent. A couple of questions here on when will live transcripts be released? And if you notice, we are using them today in our webinar, so you're able to experience it.
Yes. Yeah, Odette, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking into releasing it to some of our customers initially. We've heard loud and clear that it is something that is very helpful for classrooms and in general in the education space. So we will enable that for our education customers. And then we plan over time to provide it to everyone. It will be kind of a gradual enablement over the next few months.
Great. A couple of packaging questions here, so I think we can all chime in and help. How do I add a webinar to my account for a special conference in October? And that is simple as going to your account page and you can add that webinar on. You could also, if you're only doing one conference in October, you can just buy a 1-month package and that would give you access for that time period within that 30 days. And then there's a question on what's the maximum people that can be connected in a single meeting? And that depends on what package you're on. So if you're on Basic or Pro, it's 100. If you're on Business, it's 300. If you're Enterprise, it's 500. And Enterprise Plus is 1,000. You can also add on the 500 or 1,000 to one of the other licenses as well. So just visit our plans and pricing page, and it's all transparent. It's all right there. And then our webinars, of course, scale to tens of thousands, and then we encourage you to talk to our sales team if you need something that large for that. Let's see, Lindsay's asking, Dad, will a voice to text feature a voice to text feature would allow chat to be faster for people who are slow typers. Any plans for this?
Right now, we're using the voice to text technology to provide the transcription. That's what we plan to do. And we look into building it into the chat as well as a possible solution. That's a good idea.
Great. And you did just add that into the Zoom chat, correct? Where you could do that. So
Yeah,
it's not
right.
in meetings yet, but it's on the Zoom chat. Yes.
That's a voice message. Yeah, you can leave a voice
No,
message. Yeah.
it's a voice message, not
Correct.
voice to text.
Jason, Rhonda's asking, what are some tips to avoid hackers?
Yeah, so there's 4 things. I know I covered a few of these items. First is try not to post the meeting links into public forums like social media that's open to a lot of people, things that could be found on like Google as an example. But if you have to, or if you don't, there's still 3 other things that I would ask that you do that really make a big impact, which is 1, enable passcodes. 2, make sure to use virtual waiting rooms. And then if possible, use the join by domain feature, which only allows attendees with a given email domain to join into your meetings. So that's really what I feel are the most important aspects to focus on.
That's excellent. Those are great tips for avoiding bad actors coming into your meetings. Do you also have tips on like, how do I protect my chat or just my whole Zoom account in general, which is kind of best practices for any SaaS product, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the most important things to protect your account is to make sure that you're using a unique passcode for your account. One thing that's very common that I see is a user would use the same username and password all over the place. And what that does is it reduces your risk of if there's a compromise of that account information, they could also use it for your Zoom account. So I would recommend putting in a unique password for your Zoom account that you don't share with any of your other accounts. That's an important aspect to securing it. And just like using other SaaS products, that is a best practice.
Great. Eric, we have a couple of questions here about children going back to school. Like, what does it feel like to help make that possible for so many children and teachers?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, it's really not easy for kids to stay at home for such a long time. Now in the fall season, they have to join the online classes, especially for K-12 schools, right? It's not easy, but from our side, we do all we can, right, to help, to empower, the teachers and the schools, and to host the online classes via a Zoom platform. So we're going to continue to invest more in doubling down on that in terms of, might have a daily, the education sessions and with educators, K-12 school IT staff, as just mentioned, how to make sure help them, right, to enable and to share the best practices. Because some of those schools, they just joined the Zoom platform, they may not join our summer Zoom, K-12 academy, right? So we need to invest more. Also, we need to continue to help them, right? Like as just mentioned, right? Make sure their students don't share those meeting invitation, to others, protect that. Because this is something new. It will take some time, for the K-12 schools to really understand, what's the best practice, right? This is a, effort, not only from our side, but also from the entire education community. And we are going to double down on that to keep supporting the K-12 schools all the way up to the universities.
Yeah, that's excellent. We, I think you mentioned this, we did the Summer Academy just a few weeks ago and had tens of thousands of principals and IT people and educators on there. And it was great beyond just the training of how do I do Zoom, but it was also how do I teach over Zoom and how do I make that engaging? There's one person in here has commented, my kid's on class for 4 hours a day, right? Is that realistic to do that? And I think so much of that is the creativity of the teachers. I know my son's taking ceramics and I thought, how's he gonna do that? But they got 25 pounds of clay delivered to the house yesterday.
So by the way, in addition to, to share the best practice, we also, listen to our customers, those educators, right? Like how to further improve breakout sessions and some specific features, built for the education community. That's also very important. And there is some mutual effort, yeah.
Excellent. So what's your view on the future of education? And do you think education and learning person will change in the future?
Yeah, in terms of future of education, I would say that's different compared to like, the business, companies or enterprise companies. It's very likely that's pure, hybrid, give the employees flexibility. But when it comes to education, especially for K-12 schools, I think primarily still the campus driven, right? After the crisis is over, because kids, they like to hang out, to be together, right? To learn together. It's very important. Universities might be a little bit different, but again, it's still like a hybrid, but primarily driven by still the physical online classrooms. For sure, there will some of the participants who might join online. With that, right, educators can further improve the learning experience. You can reach out as many students as possible, right? I think this sort of a hybrid, but not as like the business customers and mainly driven from the remote worker mode. Yeah.
Great. And Eric or Oded, feel free to chime in on this too. What hardware do you recommend for if I'm doing hybrid classrooms or enabling my teachers from home?
With that, we want to share something.
Yeah, sure. From any PC that has a relatively good performance will be adequate for a teacher. So that's something. We do have system requirements on our website that we can share on this chat that can let you know what is the minimum kind of CPU and memory requirements that are a must for running a video call with Zoom. There's also the option to use the new devices that we announced today in terms of having a dedicated device like a D10Me that provides that ability to join a meeting and run a meeting while you have your laptop as a companion to that additional device. And we just recently announced that we will also support new devices from Facebook, Amazon, and Google. And the idea would be to use them as a companion. You still have your laptop for screen sharing, and you use that additional device for the audio and video. So that's another option that we have announced. We call it Zoom for Home if you want to look further into what devices are supporting that mode. But both options are available. Either use your laptop, make sure you have the right system requirements, or use your laptop with the companion device, Zoom for Home.
Yeah, but by the way, Janelle, I also know actually some of the school teachers, they also use the iPad. And that also works pretty well too. You also can annotate with whiteboard functionality. As Oded mentioned, Zoom for Home devices that will be available in the next several months. Also give you a bigger screen, also with whiteboard capabilities.
I love that. I've also seen a lot of teachers using document cams and hooking those up. Yeah. I believe Kristen's going to put a couple of links into the chat that has some recommended hardware for both the hybrid classroom and the remote teaching off of our website.
Yeah, I think
give you some good tips.
Good point on the document camera, Janelle, because that can actually allow the teacher to share a additional video stream. So for example, if there's a textbook that the teacher wants to share with the students to show them where to read or where they need to practice, they can take that document camera and point it above the book and share it in addition to sharing their own video. And so that's a really popular feature that teachers use in terms of sharing textbooks.
Yeah, and relatively inexpensive too to set that up.
Correct.
Excellent. Eric, given that it's back to school, what are you doing to ensure that we have the capacity to keep quality service?
Yeah, first of all, I
All
think
these students joining.
yeah, we already gained a lot of experience over the past several months, and we have a high confidence. Right, from a capacity perspective, we feel very comfortable. Our president of engineering and product, Vachami, and his team, they have a daily meetings, to monitor the capacity in real time. If needed, we always add more capacity because we always try to keep a threshold, like capacity wise, like only 50% of the peak time volume, right? I think, so I would say no need to worry about that. So the whole team behind that to make it work. Yeah.
Excellent. Max, can you comment on, while we wait for end-to-end encryption, do you still provide encryption technology on free and paid accounts?
Oh,
Or
sure
Dad,
thing.
if you'd like to hop in as well.
No, sure thing. So encryption in the current product hasn't changed at all, and that's the last thing Zoom would ever do to downgrade security. We only plan upgrades, from here on out. So just so everyone knows, when you join a Zoom meeting today, it's encrypted with 256 GCM, AES GCM encryption, which is obviously the standard in encryption, and that's with a key that's generated specifically for the meeting and thrown out after the meeting is over. So anyone in a Zoom meeting right now can rest assured they have extremely good security and encryption on their meetings. With end-to-end, we plan to upgrade the way the key is generated that's used to encrypt meetings, but until that's rolled out to everyone, the security guarantees are exactly as they have been since the GCM upgrade.
Excellent. Dad, Susan's asking, can you do registrations and send reminders to attendees with meetings or only with webinars?
It's available on both webinars and meetings. So please feel free to go to our website and read the instructions on how to use registration, and that it explains on both webinars and meetings.
Excellent. So just go to our support page or website to support, and in that knowledge center, you will get great articles and tips on that. How do I give my participants permission to record?
It can be done from the participant list, and you can allow that specific user to record through that permission.
Right, and they would be recording locally at that point, right?
Correct. This is for recording locally, correct.
Skip is asking if there's any software to give a green screen with a Zoom background, not using a physical green screen. Maybe you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We provide that ability to use a virtual background without a green screen. There is a limitation in terms of the CPU of the computer, and that's also something that is on our knowledge base. But the idea is that we want to support customers that can change the virtual background like I do now. I don't have a green screen behind me. I just use a virtual background, and the computer does the separation between my face and the background to provide a good experience.
Yeah, but also to add on to what Odette said, if you do have a green, the background, for sure, is the quality wise is better, right? So you can buy, the green wallpaper in Amazon or other online store, and for the very professional studio, and also that's good, and the idea too. Yeah.
Do you have tips for when two people are in the same room on Zoom? How do you avoid audio feedback?
Yes, we actually have a feature around that, where what happens if someone is already in the meeting and someone next to that person joins the same meeting. If you hear, if you kind of listen, there is a chime that's being played. That chime actually, when when the computer that is trying to join gets that sound back, it will disable your audio, both the speakers and the microphone, so that there is no feedback generated. That's a feature that we provide. So kind of try to understand how that works and you will see that it's a very efficient mechanism to avoid the feedback. But in general, if you do want to manually do that, just join without adding the audio when you join into a meeting. There is also an additional feature that we released where if you synchronize the Zoom client with your calendar, you'll be able to see all your meetings on your meetings list. And there is an option there that if you click on join a meeting, there is a join from room option. And if you join from room, the same idea will happen where you will join the meeting without the speaker and microphone connected. So there are multiple ways to do that. Just to summarize, either automatically, where we do the trick by listening to the chime, or manually by either you joining in room through that feature that is available on the calendar, or we just recommend you to join with the audio disabled in that room.
Great. Lisa's asking, what's the best way to connect music on a Zoom session? Ideally, we want all participants to hear an Apple playlist, but we could also use Spotify or something like that. We've tried it several ways, but do you have any tips on getting good audio quality and levels?
Well, we do have the share audio capability, where if you go to the sharing button and you bring up the sharing dialog, there is an advanced option to share audio from your computer. So the idea is that you would play the audio from your computer first and then go and share from that function, and it will share whatever is played on your computer in high quality.
Let's see, how do you integrate the PayPal function?
So there's integration with PayPal that is available. There's multiple steps that you need to take. Basically, you need to have a PayPal account to be able to do that. Really suggest to go to the support article that explain exactly what are the steps that you need to take to integrate with PayPal, but we do have that capability.
Yeah, so just go to marketplace.zoom.us and search for PayPal, and it's all right there. A lot of people running our webinars love that. Let's see, what are your best tips to give out to participants when they're experiencing internet issues?
So in terms of dealing with low bit rate, if that's the problem that they're experiencing, I would say one step that I would take is first move closer to the wireless router. So make sure that you have good network ahead of time. And sometimes it's better to even connect your computer on a wired connection. That's the first thing that I would do. Then if there is no other way to improve the connectivity, then in some cases you would want to maybe switch to a single video. If someone is sharing, just watch the thumbnail of one person, so you receive only one video stream, or you can turn off the video completely if you don't have enough bandwidth for both video and the screen sharing.
Let's see. Deborah's asking a great question. How and where can we submit feature ideas and requests?
There is an ability in the product to submit feedback. So that's something that you can go into the settings and you can find it there. And we receive feedback. That's one way to do that. Or you can go to kind of our website, and in the support page, there is a way to submit a requirement as well. Both will reach our support team and then reach the product team after that.
Excellent. I know you drive so much of your roadmap based on customer feedback and conversations. So we really do encourage you to give us what you want, right?
Absolutely. We'd love to hear the feedback.
Yeah. Deb is asking, can you discuss how polling may be used beyond multiple choice questions? Any plans to expand on that?
Well, in general, we're looking into enhancing our polling, and that's one of the things that we would like to enhance, making it more expandable and not limited to just one capability. So expect more enhancement to the polling in the future.
Great. Eric, what is your vision for the future as we look to return to offices?
Yeah, I hope we can return to office tomorrow. So, but it will take some time. I think first of all, I think when it comes to returning to office, I think the way for us to work together before is completely changed, right? And as I mentioned earlier, you have to embrace hybrid. Otherwise, you will lag behind, to your competitors. Imagine your engineers, right? They can save the 1 hour commute time, right? Work from home, right? This is very productive. I think first of all, make sure the technology is ready. And another thing you should look at, maybe your office setup, right? Used to be a very big open offices. I think that you might need to change. And also you have, for especially for the enterprise, bigger companies, right? They might have a small technology hub in some small cities, only have maybe a dozen employees. You got to think about it. Do you really need to have a physical office, right? Why not give employee a greater tool, some tools, right, to enable the remote work? The good news, actually, we do have some time. We learned some experience over the past 3 months. This is not only for one company, for the entire industry. Everyone is looking at how to truly embrace work from home and train, right? I think we can learn from each other. Yeah.
Excellent. What do you look for in hiring good people? And do you have a favorite interview question?
Yeah, so on day one, our hiring philosophy is always to look for a self-motivation and the self-learning employees, right? So it's very important, right? For you got to motivate yourself. You would like to learn. My favorite question, when I try to interview anyone is, which book are you reading recently? If Janelle, I know, you always told me, how many books you're reading every month or every quarters. If you told me that I'm too busy to read any book, I guess actually, it's not a good sign. So.
Reading, it's wonderful. I love audiobooks as well. And Eric, I know you always, I do miss your library that we had in the office.
Yep.
We'll need to get a virtual one going there. Oded, do you have a favorite interview question?
I try to understand, what is the passion of the product for the product, but it's kind of tricky right now. In the past, I used to ask people if they signed up for an account and they use Zoom. Right now, that question is almost mute because everybody is on Zoom. So I need to find a new question to understand their passion for the product.
I guess Max, the first interview question is about to test the encryption, technology. And Jason's will be around the security. So.
Jason or Max, what do you think?
I don't want to give away our real stumpers. We have some stumpers there.
One of my favorite questions, not security related, is I actually ask somebody to teach me something new. And I want to understand, how they go through the process and thought process of what it is that they need to teach me and how they approach it. That's always a fun one, and it's a great dialogue because I get to learn something new and I get to, create that kind of relationship with the person by going through that learning.
I guess that. Building on what Jason just said, no, we actually do ask people in our interviews, talk about something you read recently, a security vulnerability in the press, and talk about what the learnings were and what happened, and just so that you could look online and see things going on every day. So it's good to see that people are paying attention to the types of problems that come up and how best to solve them. So that's pretty good from a security perspective.
That's great. This is for Eric and team, so another roundtable here. How do you build and maintain a culture when your teams are remote, especially with new hires?
Yeah, I can start. I think when it comes to new hires, it's pretty difficult. It's not that easy because you never see each other for such a long time. But overall, you got to do all you can to truly care about employees, especially new employees, right? Have more Zoom calls. And sometimes, you probably can record a video message, right? And proactively, talk with them, right? Just maybe you do not spend a lot of time, just 5 minutes or even several minutes. Ask them what's going on. Like Max, quite a case is, Max's case in New York. we have, once or twice weekly meetings, sometimes just to send a chat message, to each other to make sure, we know each other, and also, he's doing well, as any questions. Again, as long as you think about your employees, I think it should be okay. And, technology always there, you can use anything, right, to engage with your employees, try to maintain a great culture.
Great. Any other tips? I'll share mine. Half my team is new since March, so we do have a lot of new employees. We have a half hour to stand up every day. It's optional to come, but I would say most people make it at least three days of the week, 3 of the 5. And it's just team building. Sometimes we have an agenda or we'll have a guest speaker, but most of the time it is, hey, just tell us about your weekend. What are your challenges? Where do you need help? And then I also assign a mentor in the group, because frequently I'm in meetings all day long and they need somebody just to get those organizational, who do I go to, especially as we're all remote. I think just understanding where to go in the organization has been really key.
And also, Janelle, another tip I'd like to share, especially when you, have a Zoom call with your newly hired employees. So make it, maybe a little bit of fun, right? You can use a Zoom video filter, right? And have those cool features like this, right? That's pretty cool. And don't always, you kind of have very serious conversation. I make it a fun and meeting. Yeah, I like it. Pretty cool.
All right, I'll play along with you.
Yeah.
That actually answered one of our next questions was, are you going to do anything fun like Instagram filters? So there are some fun things in there. And Dad, you also put in more reactions in your meetings too, right?
Correct. So just make sure you download the latest client and you can have that. If you really want to go all the way, you can also download the Snap Camera software and use that. But we have a lot of it already embedded natively into our product as well.
Yeah, just some fun icebreakers. I'm in team builders. Karen's asking, when's your next educators conference, and was the educators meeting taped and available? It is taped and available. I believe Kristen put the link in the chat for that. All you need to do is register and you can watch those recordings. There's even badging if you would like to receive a certificate that you had watched those. I will say with Zoomtopia coming up, we will have an educator track there as well. So also great learnings. And just visit our website. There are daily, I believe, trainings and webinars for educators. So lots of great resources out there for that. Let's see, a couple more questions here. We're almost running out of time. Let's see, I'm live streaming a Zoom workshop lecture and performance using Zoom meetings. How can my participants opt to remain anonymous? We're done.
So I didn't follow the whole question. Using live stream. So if you want to send a one-to-many live stream event or a general event, then you can start a webinar and live stream it, and through YouTube, people can watch it without joining a meeting or a webinar, if that's the question. So, but need to understand if I got the actual question answered. Can you repeat it?
I'm live streaming a Zoom workshop lecture and performance using Zoom meetings. How can my participants opt to remain anonymous? And there's a related question. I'm not sure if it's from the same person. This is from Joe. Let's see, in a webinar, can attendees verbally ask questions without their names being shown on the screen to other attendees? So I think it's if you brought somebody in from the audience and they were participating, can they rename anonymous?
Well, they do need to have a name on our participant list, if that's the question. If you want to be anonymous, I would use the text chat, and there you can have anonymous questions.
Excellent. Are you able to do multiple registration levels? For example, can people register for free while other people need to pay?
So if you refer to a Zoom account registration, then you can have in a single account some people that are paid account and some are basic, which is free.
Great. And can Zoom handle a general meeting of 500 people? It certainly can, but again, go back and check your plans. you may need to add on a large meeting, or if you're having a meeting with 500 people, you may want to consider the webinar platform as well.
And if this is a known audience, we recommend to use registration.
And Jason, Mariel is asking, what is the level of privacy and security in Zoom?
Sure. So security and privacy are very important to us, as I said, and we do offer a number of features to keep your meeting secure that I covered earlier, as well as your data and privacy. There's passcodes, waiting rooms, chat encryption, etc., along with a variety of authentication methods. And definitely refer to kind of, since this is a recording, look at everything that I talked about around how to secure your meeting, as well as, end-to-end encryption is an important aspect, and what Max talked about. So that is also part of our security story of how we're increasing the level of security on our platform.
Excellent. With that, Eric, do you have any parting words when we'll see everybody again in a month?
I think for this webinar, first of all, I feel very secure. We have Max on the call, we have Jason on the call. And anyway, I want to say, hey, thank you so much for all those users and who truly support us over the past several months, give us a lot of great feedback. Take this webinar, for example, a lot of you, and never missed a single webinar. We truly appreciate it for your great support. We will do all we can, to keep improving. I want to let you know that we are fully committed to make the Zoom a frictionless and secure collaboration solution to help people stay connected. Thank you so much. See you next month.
Thank you all.
Thank you.